sparrows in the sky. Though it may seem today that I'm so far away from you, you never have to fall, 'cause I'm right here before you call my name. And I'll come running to heal you, feel you, take you by the hand, and I'll show you the way to where I am. All you should know that I will never ever go away. As long as I care for the sparrows in the sky. Forget your yesterday, for when this night to brand new day gives way. Your life, your breath renewed, a ray of sun reminds you it's okay. You'll never be alone if you feel me, hear me, take me into your heart, and we'll never ever have to part. You should know that I would never ever go away. As long as I care for the sparrows in the sky.
Never have to worry about a thing. Don't have to worry, you will never have to worry about a thing. Don't have to worry about a thing.
All you should know that I will never ever go. As long as I care for the sparrows in the sky. Oh yeah, don't worry. Said I never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Consider the lilies, how they grow. Whatever you need, your Father knows. Oh, come on, let me say.
You'll never. Don't you know you never have to worry? I will always be there. Oh yeah, said you will never have to worry. You will never have to worry. Oh, yes.
If you only knew what I'd do for you, it'd just be me, nothing that we couldn't do. If you'd only do what I asked you to, I would make your dreams come true. If you only knew. For so long I've been waiting to spend some time with you. You don't know, you cannot imagine the things that we could do. You can't even understand. If you would only let me in, I would do something special just for you. Only for you. All you gotta do is say me in. I have so many plans for me and you. If you only knew. If you only knew what I'd do for you, it'd just be me, nothing that we could do. If you true if you only knew. Why don't you? Can we go somewhere just me and you? Just the two. Don't delay. It's your day. Would it be okay? Just let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Different places that you've never been. Answer all of the questions you never asked. Oh, you never asked. If you would only take my hand. No more sorrow, no more pain. Never ever hurt again. I'll give you shelter from my rain. All I really want to say is I love you. Let me take you in my arms and just fly away. Ooh, never gonna let you go, baby. Don't wake us tomorrow may never come. Just be me and you. Nothing that we couldn't do. If you only do what I asked you to, I would make your dreams come true. If you only knew. Just between you and me, this is nice. There's no tricks. Ooh, this love is just between. This is not. Ooh, there's no tricks. This love is. Just what do I have to do to let you know? Should I make your flowers grow? Should I make it rain or snow? Yeah. So many things I've done just for you. Forest green and ocean blue. Just to show my love is true. Just between you and me. This is not. There's no trace. This love is so real. Just between. This is not. There's no tricks. This love is so real, yeah. Don't you know I taught the birds to fly on the stars up in the sky? Can you guess the reason why? Can you take more than a passing glance? Nothing is by happenstance, yet you think it's just by chance. Just between you and me. This is not no tricks. This love is so real. Between you and me. This is not. There's no tricks. This love is so real. Oceans deep, river wide, valley low and mountain high.
What's up, y'all?
What up, what up?
We are excited here to be here tonight one more time on our live. As you can see, we're in a different spot. We are in our dining room.
This is really exciting.
It is exciting because of who's
I'm
here.
very excited.
We can't say who they are yet.
No,
but
it's a
you can
surprise.
see one of his faces in the screen right now. You know what I'm saying?
So
it's not
I
really a
have to
surprise we
just
said
say,
it, but, yeah.
I can't see the comments, and this is bothering me. But it's fine.
Yeah.
You just have to be on it over there.
So this is
Okay?
Kim saying, "Hey y'all,"
What
and then
up,
of course
sister?
we got Lance J on here.
What up, Lance?
With his praise hands. Of course we have Primo making fun of one of our guests, saying, "Who's the ugly green beret on the screen?"
Okay, I have to just say, that Primo, I felt really bad because John made me feel really bad for saying that we beat you all the time in golf. No, that isn't true.
Okay.
But Shalita does beat you all the time. So I will say that. And I want to say that it was a chime. It was a top chime that sent me that easy scratch, by the way. I found out
Oh,
that
right. So
it was a top chime.
A couple weeks
and
ago, remember we talked about April got a contraption in the mail to help you scratch underneath your wig or your weave. And it actually
Yes.
came from
And I
one of
said,
our major guests.
Major chime. And I think it was because I might have been going like this on one of the episodes.
I think so. That's what happened. So after we asked the question, this particular chime was watching the replay and texted April immediately and said, "That was me. I said that to
So
you."
thank you, chime. That was
Yeah.
very, very sweet of you. Anyway,
hilarious.
just had to update everybody.
Exactly,
on that
so
one.
you know. Okay, so Wanda Sampson is here saying, "Hi, everyone." Of course, Primo's laughing at what we just said.
What up, Austin?
Austin, bro, tell me what cameras we are working with tonight. Bro, okay, so first of all, this camera, this angle right here, this is the Sony a6400, as you know, Austin.
John is so happy you asked that question, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you for giving me an opportunity. This angle here, which is going to reveal our guests for the first time, we'll tell you who they are later. This is our Canon T6i, I
Yes,
believe.
yes.
And then this is just the iPhone 12. So this is like not even a real camera over here. But thank you for
good.
asking that, Austin.
Yes,
that is
yes.
very, very nice of you to want to know. And by the way, thank you for the tip on the new camera that's coming out. I am trying to buy it. Okay, so Primo says, tell Julian Kitching DOL. Dio Presso Liber? What?
He's not on. Yeah, there you go.
What is that?
It's the slogan of the Special Forces Regiment. It's Deo Presso Liber, and it means to free the oppressed in Latin.
Really?
Yeah.
So he just did
Okay.
that to flex then.
He
He's
did.
just
He
flexing.
flexed in the
He's
regimental
flexing.
knowledge.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what it
All
is.
right, there, Primo.
And Vanessa Rutherford says, hello, John and April, from your new follower. And then, of course,
Oh,
Austin
so
says it's
glad
beautiful.
you're
Thank you,
a
Austin.
new
You know what I'm saying?
follower.
Tam Bodie's on this joint. You know what? We got
Hey,
Tam on the show. We need to have her on
Tam.
to sing.
You need to be singing Tam.
Did you see, by
First
the way,
of
have you
all,
been seeing how she's been
Listen,
doing those things?
I
She
have been
sings along
watching.
with people
I
on
watch
TikTok?
her stuff all the
Oh, yeah, me too.
time.
You're dope, Tam.
and it's so good, so good.
Clemore saying the iPhone 12 is nice. Thanks, Clemore. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's introduce our guests for
Yes,
tonight.
I'm
Okay,
so,
so
wait, well, they need some music.
let's see.
to be
Well, let's see. Let's see.
Don't know. This
Okay,
is my.
April can
this
choose
is
the
my.
music, okay?
Okay, I don't have a whole lot of options here though because
I didn't program
you didn't
everything.
program the one I really wanted, but we'll just
Right.
do the one. I love this one. It's a regular one that we're used to if you watch our podcast. But we have some wonderful guests with
People
us
are gonna think the show is
today.
ending though because you chose that. You know what I'm saying?
Is
If
this
they
the
watch,
show ending song?
It is.
Not for tonight.
I'm just saying it's normally the show.
I
ending.
like this.
Ah.
Come on.
Yeah, we need something a little
Get
special
it.
for this. You know what I'm saying? For this couple
yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
across from us today are our good friends from way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk in a second about how long we've known them because I was thinking about it today. I think each of us have known them separately for longer than we've known them as a couple. But this is Julian and Kalah Kitching,
Yes.
who have been married now for, I think, longer than us. So I think you guys have been 21 years.
22.
22.
That's what I
99.
thought. 22.
Man,
Yeah.
Dang. Oh, that's right, because we'll be 21 this year.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's the one you want? Okay.
Yes.
Let me follow my wife's instructions.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So anyway, Julian and Kalah have been married for 22 years. We'll get into how many children they have. That is very pivotal in this conversation
It
today.
is very pivotal.
And part of the main reason why we want to talk to them is because of their living situation, I would say. They are military family and have been for 18 years.
Yeah.
18 years?
Right. I
Okay.
guess maybe we should start there. So This girl always trying to groove, man.
I'm just saying, you know, we're still don't stay still, girl. Get it? No, we just. I think this is still the introduction as we continue to introduce. You haven't really introduced.
You're right. We haven't. So okay. Would you consider yourself ever not a military family, even though you're not technically in the military now? Is that like we're always a military family?
What do you think?
I feel like it. We've only been out of the military for about 18 months.
Okay, so it doesn't feel
it's
like
a
you're
are
not.
huge
definitely
part of our
still-
identity as a family.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're still, I don't know.
I mean, it's all our kids ever knew too. So yeah.
yeah,
I feel like once you become one,
That's
you're
it.
always
That's
That's
true.
it.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. All right. So that's how we'll W. You guys like each other. From what I remember, at least when you guys were dating at Oakwood, there were certain couples on campus who everybody kind of just knew together.
Right.
And
yes.
there were many couples like that. Well, maybe not that many.
was
There were a few, but
that
there were a
didn't
few
necessarily
that,
stay together though.
that's true.
But
But Julian and Kalah, they were definitely one of
still
those
together.
couples.
You
Y'all
still
still together.
yes.
How long did you guys date before you actually got married? Do you
Wow.
remember?
I think
year and a half.
year and a half. Yeah, I think we met in September. Well, I mean, so we met at Oakwood, I guess, around September of '97.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we got married in May of '99.
Okay.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
things
Okay.
moved, things escalated quickly.
I said
Yes.
the final rapid movements would be rapid ones. Okay. All right, good.
Yeah,
Yes,
decisive
yes.
action. That's
Okay, so first of all, we want to thank you guys for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason why you are on the show tonight is the coincidental event that happened today, which we all went swimming in
Yes.
our pool.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. Our kids went swimming. We did not go
We
swimming
did not
at
go
all.
swimming. It was too cold.
That's right. There was no way we weren't trying to do that.
No,
Yeah.
it was freezing.
No.
But we said, hey, would you guys mind sticking around and being on the show tonight? You graciously accepted, so thank you for that.
Yes.
Man, our pleasure.
We're
We love
excited.
it.
We
We're
are
fans.
really
We're
excited.
fans. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but we're fans.
No.
Well, we are fans.
Exactly. We're fans
so
of y'all. You know what I'm
we're
saying?
so excited that you're actually close to. I mean, we're
Yeah,
close
man.
again to each
Right.
other. At one time we were,
yeah.
but it didn't last long.
Yeah.
This is the first time in a long time that we've been able to be like within at least an hour of each other.
Right.
Because it is like an hour to your house, to be clear.
It is. 54 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you come, you better be okay. I
Exactly.
need to stay there at least long enough so that I'm not in the car longer than I was at
Yeah.
your
Right.
house. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, okay. So here's the first thing. You guys are a military family, and we think that comes with some special
Challenges.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And maybe
sure.
not just
Yeah.
challenges, maybe also some positive things too.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we
Some
kind of want to talk to you
benefits.
all about that and ask you some questions about some of the things that have happened throughout your marriage. And the topic really tonight is how do you stay where you have good intimacy within your relationship, even though you guys are super long distance. And part of the thing that we've always loved about you guys is you clearly like each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like obvious that you guys are. I don't know. Do you consider yourself best friends? I don't know.
Yeah, we're
best
friends. We're friends.
You think best friends? Not really.
Yeah, no. best friends for sure. Like she's the one person that I can be totally myself with. And that, when we first started dating, I was kind of known as a jokester around campus and things like that. And she saw through that like almost immediately.
Really?
And would just call me on it. And I was like, she sees that. not really like that. And
Right,
so
right.
that was refreshing to have somebody who was, transparent with me and would, and so that was great to have
Yeah,
as a relationship.
yeah.
And it immediately sparked a friendship, which, kind of escalated too.
And
That's awesome.
clearly, it turned into more than a friendship because you guys have 6 kids.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so many
Count
kids.
them.
So we
1,
we
2, 3, 4, 5,
We
6. And it
revealed
was
the big
not.
number.
You guys haven't. These are not outside kids, nothing like that. You know what I'm
This
saying?
is not the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I mean, we made our own Brady Bunch.
That's right. and what? So the first question that April and I have for Kalah is who actually carried the kids? Like
Exactly.
who was the person?
Who was
that,
the surrogate
goodness.
mother?
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? You were not pregnant all those times. And if you were, what did you do afterwards? How many surgeries have you had to get back up?
Exactly. How did you stay your Pine Forge weight? Like I don't understand.
She corrected you the last time and said she wasn't her Pine Forge weight. That it's
I'm not.
That she's like
Well,
5 pounds
you
heavier.
looking,
maybe?
honey,
Not
so
say 5.
so it doesn't even matter. If you look at, that's all that matters.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
It's crazy. Doesn't make any sense.
So I guess that is the question. How is it that you are, what do we say? This is a long distance marriage, really. That's how, how long were you apart when you were apart? And then how do you have 6 kids in that? How is that possible?
Right.
We kind of walk you through our 3-step program.
We did. We'd like to hear that
Yes,
again.
we like to hear the 3-step program.
So to be clear, so I was in Iraq in 2003 during the initial invasion of Iraq, and then I was in Afghanistan 3 different combat tours with Special Forces. So 2007, then back in 2008, and then back in Afghanistan in 2009, and then home for a little bit, and then back in Afghanistan again in 2011. And then after that, several like an instructor tour where I was gone most of the year,
Right.
like 6 months out of every year. So our when you ask like how did you work in it, how did you get it in? Well, when you get off that plane,
Yep.
you immediately you go shower, and then you head to the house and tell the kids that you're going to work on the budget, and you go upstairs.
Yeah.
And
do
you
what needs to be done.
And do what needs to be done. I mean, you
Okay.
got to do the Lord's work.
Yes, right. That's kind of budgeting, I guess.
But I mean, listen, that I think that was the plan. I don't think we planned a lot of it. And maybe that's a part of the discussion, but we were just so happy to see each other.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
When you're there, it's like 9 months of just being around dudes.
Right.
I mean, so when you see your wife, it's like, yo. I don't know if there's a different word I would just yo. So,
Brian Goodine says, "Ain't nothing wrong with 6 kids as long as they're all not mine." Wait a minute. Oh my
Wait a minute.
goodness. Aaron Brooks says she looks the same.
Oh,
which
thank you.
we all do agree.
Yes, we all agree
Brian,
on that.
Brian Goodine says hashtag budget time.
Budget
And
time.
then
And Nate says that he appreciates your service to America.
oh,
Yes.
well, thank you. It was
very
my
nice,
pleasure. I
man.
enjoyed it.
Yes.
yeah. You're actually the kind of person that you seem to be built for this kind of work. I wonder if there's anything. Was it hard for you, Kalah, at all when you saw Julian sort of in this this space as a military guy? You could tell that's him. Was it difficult to kind of be like, oh man, I'm a military wife? Like April when she started dating me, I was not going to be a pastor, and I think at some point she realized, okay, I'm going to have to be a pastor's wife. It seems like there's something to being married to somebody who's in the military. Is there?
I have to say that's a good question because, how did you put in your mind, like, okay, did you have to say to yourself, okay, I know what I'm about to get into. I know I have to, were you afraid? Like what went through your mind
Right.
when you?
That's what I want to know.
So I was very afraid at first. I knew nothing about being military family or anything when he first went in. And I think I was just like, once I kind of got a taste of it, I was just like, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm available to be that support for the kids and for him. So that was my focus. We
Okay.
had 3 little boys. Like Benjamin was, I think, 2, John was 1, and David was born the day.
The day I graduated from basic training.
Yeah,
Really?
Right,
Wow.
right,
I had
Are
to go
you
emergency-
serious?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Emergency C-section.
yeah.
No way.
So we had 3 little ones, and I was in Virginia with my parents, and I was just like, you know what? I just want to make sure that I'm there for the boys, and then I can support him. So we
Yes.
moved everyone down to Georgia where he was in training,
Yes.
and from then on, so that I was just like a support for him, I think.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I think in terms of relationship, I think over the long term, and this is a totally separate branch of conversation, but her being there and making herself available in that way consistently to everybody else meant that sometimes in her mind, she wasn't doing things for herself. So you have to remember, like, we're both at Oakwood. We're both college students.
Right.
And when a woman decides to get married, it doesn't mean, well, I'm never going to do anything. I'm just going to stay at home with the kids.
Right.
You know, Kalah has a whole set of her own dreams and goals and desires.
Right.
She was very academically talented and had a strong drive to want to go on to like graduate school and stuff. And she chose to put all of that to the rear for 20 years of service, raising children and doing all that. And that, I don't know how far down you want to go there. But that,
I'm glad you said that, because I would love to ask you if you're okay with this.
Yeah, we'll have that caveat every time. If you're okay,
I know, if you're okay
with
it. Yeah. If you're like, well, we'll talk about that later. But
Off
did you
camera.
have any resentment? Like, did you resent him? Were there times of resentment? I know we have had that. I mean, we've had it in our marriage.
Amen.
Okay. Yeah. And it may not have lasted a long time, but I'm saying, was there ever a time where you resented him for not being there, even though you knew why he wasn't there? You knew it was a good reason.
Yeah.
You supported that reason. You know, did you ever have those feelings?
I think around the end, I was like, okay, like I'm 42.
Right. Right.
I need
When is
you
this
to
gonna-
stop so I can do something. You know what I mean?
okay.
So those last few years, and he was, even though he wasn't deploying, he was still like going on trips and stuff. And I was just like, okay, like, when is it going to be my turn?
Wow.
You know?
So did you ever express that to him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Several times.
Wow. in a myriad of ways. There's several ways of expressing that. You know
In
what I'm
several
saying?
ways. Yeah.
So how did you feel when she expressed that to you?
I think I knew, you know,
Okay.
I mean, because it's a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, that, you know, always gone, always busy.
So explain that. How often were you gone? Like,
So-
and how long were you gone?
I mean, so while I was on operational detachments at 3rd Special Forces Group, so deployments lasted between 6 and 9 months. The last one was about 11 months.
Wow.
When you come back, you get about 30 days of leave, but then immediately you go into individual training cycles to begin ramping up for the next deployment.
Wow.
So it was common to do a 30-day pre-mission train up right before you left.
Oh my
So on the front side of a deployment, you're gone all the time training. When you come back, you get a little bit of downtime, but then you're right back training again to go. Once I became an instructor, I was gone about 6 months of every year because I coordinated training all over the United States. And then when I transitioned into my last assignment in the intelligence community, I was just gone. I mean,
Wow.
all week I would come back on like a Friday or
Friday,
Saturday,
and then
I would fly again on Sunday, and I would just be gone. And that was all over the world. And so,
Wow.
what that does is you grow and you see things, but you can't always share it with your spouse. She can't see those experiences or be a part of any of that.
Yeah, you were experiencing it together. Yeah.
Right. You're growing.
Yeah.
You're not growing apart. You're just growing separately. I think is
Wow.
what it
Growing
is.
separately.
So let's talk about that for a second a little bit, because I really wanted to know how it impacts intimacy. It is,
Yeah.
and of course, we've talked about intimacy on this show a bunch of times. We talked about our boot camp and everything like that. Intimacy is not just the physical aspect of intimacy that we
Right,
think about.
right.
Obviously, there are many other things that are related to your intimacy. Describe what happens during that time in terms of how do you try to keep intimacy alive? Is it just gone for that time? You're just like, well, we just know it's not going to be there, or you know what I'm saying? Do you grapple with it? Are you trying to keep it? You know what I'm saying?
without getting too specific.
Right.
So I mean, either phone calls help. Being
Okay.
able to do like the video calls help a lot. We would do like pictures.
Yeah. much appreciated.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yes.
We know what you're talking about
Yes.
there.
A playlist.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we would have like
Okay.
themed playlists.
Nice.
We would do like slideshows to
Okay.
like special songs.
Okay. Wow.
All the old
Yeah.
school. I mean, this was back in the early iTunes days. We
Right.
burn a CD and send it to somebody.
Right.
Get a little D'Angelo on there.
Yes.
But I think that what was hard about it was when we talked about kind of growing separately. I'm coming in with a set of expectations. Like, so you've been out, you come back in, and you're like, all right, this is what I want to do. And then Kalah's like, well, you've been gone, so this is what I want to do, which is a bubble bath and some time away from the kids.
Right,
And
right.
you're like, but wait, it's time to do this or do that. And so intimacy, it becomes hard because every time you're leaving and coming back, if you're not remembering to kind of honor the fact that you've been gone, then you're not giving yourself the space to kind of like, okay, what have you been going through since I've been gone? What have you, what's been going on with the kids? Because, and this would happen when I was in Afghanistan. I would be calling, and I'm 8.5 hours in the future. And I'm calling Kalah like, hey, what's going on? Can you get away from the kids for a second? And she's like, no, because I'm with the kids. Like, this is what's going on. And
there's 6 of them.
And there's 6 of them. Right. So actually, I really can't. So, it was about, understanding, having mercy for one another, grace, and being able to say, hey, I know,
knowing that
I've got
person's
limited
heart.
time.
Like
knowing their heart.
Did she really just ignore
She's
my
ignoring
call?
me. She's not ignoring me.
Right.
Just,
Giving them the benefit of the doubt in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what about, let's talk about the kids for a second. What about discipline and things like that? Wow. You're gone for a long time, and Kalah has been...
They've gone to mom for everything. Mom has been the one to say, you can do this, you can't do that.
Yeah, and they got a kind of routine going, and now you come back home. What is that like? Take us through that a little bit in terms... Was that difficult?
And before you answer that, I just want to say, let me see if I can pronounce this right. Zernona?
Zernona Lizama,
okay,
as a military dependent, I totally relate to their experience.
Give them countless praises and prayers.
Wow.
For sure.
So you got some people that really understand what you said. I think
Awesome.
their experience seems a little easier than it was for my parents. I wish my parents could have had that experience.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I can't imagine, but I like not having the video calls and being able to talk as much as possible.
Yes.
Like unless he was out doing something,
Right.
I was able to get a call in the morning,
Okay.
basically before he would go to bed or something, I think, or something like that. Like a call in the morning and a call in the evening.
Okay.
So that definitely helped. And then the kids were able to see him on the video and everything. But before that, I would imagine it was just really difficult with those long deployments.
It's probably just letters and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Probably just
Yeah.
letters,
Old school.
Yeah.
Which would probably make it harder for the intimacy to stay.
Right.
Right. And
You
to
know.
be clear, this is a function, too, of the type of unit I was in. There are people who were in the Army at the same time as us that did not have that ability to do that.
Wow.
Special Forces team, I got 3 sat phones and all
Right,
kinds of stuff.
right.
I can just call. No one's going to say anything.
Right.
That private who's on in an infantry unit,
Oh my.
he or she might be only able to get to a phone one time a week.
Wow. Oh my
And
goodness.
mail is not regular. We had a helicopter flying out to us, once every couple of weeks, bringing our stuff to us because of who we were. And so there was a
Right.
privilege kind of associated with that made it a little easier for us than I think it is for most military people. who are doing this job. So, yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I
But back to home.
digress.
So back to, you're gone for 9 months now, and take us through what a typical. I like to think of it as reentry. But I don't know if you guys have a word for it. I think you do. I think I heard you say it earlier.
Reintegration.
Reintegration. Okay, I think of
Okay.
it as reentry as in like you've been out orbiting space and now you're coming back into this atmosphere is how I think of it. And that's how we describe going from summertime to back to school in this
In
house.
this house.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's some reentry that's going on there.
Reentry.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, what is your reintegration like? What would happen, and how would that impact your ability to get through to the kids or talk to them or whatever?
Yeah. So I think it'll be helpful if I take 30 to 45 seconds to explain my side of reintegration, and then you can talk about what you went through. So on my side, you had to get a reintegration brief before you could leave and get on the plane. Primo knows this.
Yes,
So I had to
Primo.
go talk to a chaplain or somebody else, and they would tell us, "Hey, don't hurt your wives. Don't do anything impulsive. Remember, you're going back in." So that was the kind of the first step.
Wasn't Primo the person doing this at some point?
At one point he was. Yeah, he was the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group Chaplain. So I think he walked us through one of these in Kandahar, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I can't remember which place it was, but he was, he was a great chaplain. And so we would get these briefings, and we're getting ready to go back. We're talking about what we're going to buy with our deployment money, and so it's this ramp up, and you don't know that planes are broken and they don't want to. So the pilots will break down on purpose so they can stay and get combat pay.
Really? Oh my goodness, man.
Everyone in the military knows this. Anyway, so you're waiting to get out of country. It's a long and arduous process. And when you get home, you're expecting things to be a certain way. You just want to, get back in it. You're in charge, and you mentioned discipline. Like I'm coming in. Hey, why are you still awake? And what's this and what's that? And so that's kind of my side of it. I'm coming back in thinking things are where I think they are in my mind, which is a totally different place than
Maybe where you left them 9 months ago.
Right.
Exactly.
That's where they are.
Why don't you? What are you going through?
Right.
So
in the ramp up.
So they talk to us also, and they just say, "Hey, remember, they've been gone. Kind of take it slow."
And you talking about the chaplain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and
FRG, the Family Readiness Group.
right,
There's a
FRG.
unit
I
resource
see.
there.
Okay.
So that's basically what I'm doing, like just trying to gauge how he's feeling. Maybe he wants to go out with us to the store. If he goes and it's too busy, like Walmart was, like
Too many people.
Julian
Too
could
much.
not do Walmart.
Yeah.
I would get
So we would
physically
go.
sick.
Oh my
And if
I would
he
see too many people.
didn't like it, we would just turn right back around and go back home.
Wow.
It was so just kind of gauge how stuff like that, and I don't know, just like
just understanding. I
just
guess.
understanding, and not being too what's the word I'm looking for?
I guess expecting him to like having these expectations that he's going to be doing whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I mean that having those expectations, that's really a big deal. Like you have all these, he comes and has all
Yeah.
these, and you haven't
Yeah.
even expressed to him those expectations.
Yeah.
So that could cause some strife
Definitely.
That's an
if you're
intimacy
not.
killer.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
It is. Yeah.
Frustration enters because
Right.
frustration is what happens when you have unmet expectations.
Exactly.
You are,
Yeah.
I'm expecting things to be a certain way.
And I didn't even share those expectations with you.
I did not share any of those with you. I'm expecting that. We've been talking on the phone, right? So,
Right.
I mean, and that's not what's happening. You've had a very small. If you look at it in terms of percentage of time, you've had a very small window of connection over the course of like 9 or 10
Yeah.
months.
Wow.
Because you got to include the time you were gone right before you left,
True.
and so
That 1 month ramp up to get
Exactly.
you ready to go on the next deployment. That was included in. You were gone for 9, but when you were home for that 1 month beforehand, you were gone for 30 days.
For sure.
Yeah. Wow.
So when you were talking about the kids, like, do you feel like how did they respond to it? So when you came, you came back and they have their routine with you, Kalah, and they're
Right.
used to being a certain way. How was that when?
So when they want something, they would come to me automatically, and they
Okay.
still kind of do that now.
Yeah.
And Julian's like, I mean, weren't they asking me? So I have to say, go ask your father.
Okay. Okay.
And it's
Or
not
include us
that
both,
they're
Right.
Yeah, so like they'll text me for something, and I'll say, why don't you open a group chat with me and your dad and ask us in the group chat.
Nice.
It's not that they are intentionally trying to exclude him. They're just used to coming to me,
Right.
and then I have to take a step back because I'm used to just
Making the decision.
doing things
Yeah.
however I want.
Right.
So I was doing that, and Julian was like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm here.
there.
So
Hi there.
yeah, so we just have to be considerate of that.
But
what I mean?
that's a good wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she didn't, you know what I mean? Because you could have it where somebody is like, look, you ain't been here, bruh. I got this, but you're not, you're like, no. We're
I
gonna,
mean, I was tempted. At
okay.
I was
Let's be
like,
100 on the
Let's be
show.
100.
It's
Okay.
just,
Yes.
it's just, they're just used to coming to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, but I'm here. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So
Yes.
just taking that extra step to
Yeah.
consider his feelings and say, hey, guys, ask me your dad. I can't make the decision by myself.
Right.
If you want a yes or no,
Wow.
you need to ask us both. So now
Yes.
that's what they do.
I love that.
That's
I love
interesting.
that.
That is.
So, a couple other things, really. I don't know if you're even comfortable sharing this.
Okay.
We kind of asked you a
Let's
little
go,
bit
let's
before.
go.
Hey, what are you about to do?
No, nothing like
I'm
that.
getting nervous.
Exactly.
I wanted to give you this preliminarily. You know what I'm saying? So
Jen's not gonna care. Jen's gonna answer whatever.
So I imagine that seeing that kind of stuff, being in that line of work, would produce for both of you a need to cope. And so I'm wondering if either of you had ways that you coped during the time being apart or together, whatever, because I think that military life is going to produce some things that are going to create opportunities for coping. And by the way, it's not like this is just military. I think a human thing is to cope in difficult
Yes.
situations.
Definitely.
I think we've all done that over the past, year and a half with the
Right.
pandemic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I want to know if there are any things that you did during that time that you think impacted your relationship in any way. Anyway, I don't know how to answer that. Ask that differently, but-
That's the great way to ask it. I think towards the end of my career, things began to, there was a lot of stuff you just could never unpack because you were just going and going and going and going and going. And so there was a cumulative effect of being in war zones. It's like a toxic and corrosive effect on you. If you like being at war, you're either A, not doing anything, or B, a sociopath. Because it is hard to do.
Yes.
And if you're getting a lot of suns out, guns out photos, and you look like you've been working out, that means you're not really doing combat right. Teams that were working hard, they were destroyed in the rotations.
Yeah.
They were done
Yeah.
because they were out on hundreds of combat reconnaissance patrols like we were, and you're done. And so how you recover from that? So when you're in the military, you drink. So I started drinking, and you withdraw. Right, you withdraw to a place that you can control emotionally, and they saw that when starting in like 2016, when I was traveling all the time, I would come in the house, I would go up to my room, I would turn all the lights out, and I would I never drank at home before that year, and I started bringing whole bottles home, wiping them out, and it was because there was just so much going on, and I needed a place where I could just. And you see me with my hands like just block all the unpredictability, all of the stress that was happening, because these were the most stressful operations in the world. These are some of the hardest things to do.
Right.
And they were counting on 1 or 2 or 3 people to get them done.
Yeah.
And so I told you, 5 phones, 3 laptops,
Wow.
all working 18-hour days for years. And
That can do a lot.
and
Yeah.
and I'm sure
Yeah.
they kids saw it, and I know everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
How did
That's
that
a lot.
impact you, Kalah? And did you have any coping mechanisms? And did it help? Even if it was just in the moment or long term, you know what I'm saying? How did you experience that?
So I think looking at it from the outside in, you were thinking, well, just don't do that or don't engage in those activities. But when you begin to kind of try to, I guess, put yourself in the person's shoes or understand where they're coming from, you understand, what they're trying to escape,
Right.
or what they're trying
Right.
to kind of block themselves from, I guess you could say. So
Yes.
So really, so when the time that he's talking about, what I would just do is just keep the kids away, let him kind of have his time, and then there came a time where I kind of suffered from the same thing and kind of got stressed out and everything. So Julian was that support for me too. So.
Y'all been there for each other, man. Y'all might.
Listen,
This might work with for y'all, man. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
telling you, I need to say definitively, like the people who lasted the longest and did the best in that career field were people that had strong family sports. I could not have accomplished any of this from the training and selection all the way through to the career that I had, because it was a exemplary career.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way that could happen is because of Kalah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said
Wow.
it the day I graduated from the qualification course. I said her love was the transformational force that allowed me to accomplish those things. Like it wasn't like, oh, Julian's just doing this on his own. It would have been impossible to accomplish these things without a woman like this with me. Not like, oh, she behind everyone. No.
Nah.
It's like
Beside.
Right.
In front of.
around, lightsabers out. Right. Like Kalah was out there getting it in, and impossible to be a good Green Beret without somebody like this.
Well, that's a good
Thanks,
segue into the question: were there some life events, like major events, that happened when you were gone, like that you had to deal with alone? Like,
So many
I mean,
ways.
what did you? I mean, think about it. There's so many things that happen with us together that I'm like, oh
Right.
my goodness, if I
Right.
was by myself, I wouldn't know what to do. And
Right.
I'm sure you were in places where you didn't have family.
Right.
You had to just, depend on people around you that you really didn't know all the way. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm
We had a
just
great
yeah.
support network. The Team Wives and we had a great church.
Yes.
So in 2011, Nia got really sick, and she had to go to the hospital for about a week.
Wow.
And I just called the pastor of my church in Fayetteville, and Pastor Huskins came, and he would take the boys out to dinner after school. One of the
Wow.
teachers from the school came up to the house and stayed with Danielle and the boys while I was with Nia. So we had a really good support network. My mom came down to, she was, so without the support of family and friends, it would have been very difficult
Wow.
to tackle some of the
And
those things.
Kalah's humble because there were so many times when there were crises. So Kalah had a full corneal transplant while I was in
Oh
Afghanistan.
my goodness.
Just knocked it out on her own.
Not my, you can't knock the corneal
I
transplant.
mean, you can't. I mean, you didn't like carve it.
Kids.
I mean, you had people like help you, but I'm
Julian just
saying like,
by
people-
herself.
She just went in there and cut her
She
own
did it
eyes
on
out.
her
All on
It
herself.
wasn't like that, but it was a major medical procedure that happened while I
While
was
she
gone.
was
Right.
While I was gone.
And to have to coordinate all those things and stuff like that, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
You know, well, I mean,
She can downplay it, but we know she's a G.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
She
That's
is
the
a
point.
G.
all,
She is.
all kind of stuff. Supporting.
And somebody
supporting
said that
people,
on here. Wow, the love and support of a good woman.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
Tam. That's Tam
Tam,
said that.
yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
It's important to have, but it's funny that you would describe things the way that you did, Julian. You said that the people in your field who did well all had that one thing in common, and that was having good family support. Talk about that, because I wonder. Marriage is difficult already in and of itself. No, for real. I'm serious. I can't.
No, yeah.
It's already hard. And, I had the question I was going to ask you: is it harder to be married or be a Green Beret? You know what I'm saying?
You stole my question.
I'm sorry,
Wow,
man.
you know he does that. He
I didn't know that-
steals my question.
I didn't know that's what you
Y'all
had to
know that
answer.
was my question.
My bad.
Kalah said that was my question. Man, I was setting up.
I don't
like,
remember
about
that
to
being
get
April's
ready to
question.
ask it, and
Sorry,
he just,
man.
he does that a lot.
Let's just rewind.
Wow.
Let's do a mulligan. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
And you
let's
go
do a
ahead.
mulligan.
Go ahead and just ask that question.
So I can't even ask it no more. Fine, you got it. It's your question now.
But more than that, though, Julian, I'm wondering, based on what you just said, is it possible that your career and what was necessary to make your career work, do you think there are some things that you guys went through as a couple because of your line of work that actually made your relationship better? I don't know. We talk about the difficulties and we look at all the different negatives and we say, oh, well, they're apart from each other for this period of time and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, they must have it must be really tough being married. But it seems like maybe there were some things you guys worked on in those difficult times that actually might have made your relationship stronger. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, so I would say yes, and I know one of the things that I think we developed was a strong sense of trust in one another. Like I never had to worry that things
Wow.
weren't happening, or like Kalah was holding it down, and she didn't have to worry about like she was like, I'm not. Julian's not doing nothing over there. You know, he's Julian. You know what I mean? Like he's holding it down. We had a trust in one another that was unbreakable. And
Wow.
I think the other thing is that through those deployments, we began to understand our boundaries as a couple. So, like I think we talked about earlier about, people would try to, Julian's back. Let's go to the kitchen's house and party because he's back. Nah.
Oh,
Nah,
wow.
we
Yeah.
shut that down because we're working on us.
Yeah.
We're reintegrating.
Yeah.
I'm dedicating time, and we were deliberate about that thing.
Yeah.
Deliberate about worship. Deliberate
Yes.
about spending time together, doing special things for one another, and we did not have time because the next thing is coming.
Yeah.
So I'm taking every bit of these 30 days to pour into our relationship, and so it helped us to be regimented and deliberate about our relationship in that way. So I think those things were good, but and it balances out. You know what I mean? There's because of the stress and the bad things, you have to invest in the good things, right?
Yeah.
And so I think you have to develop those.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, babe?
I don't know. I was just so.
Okay, so
What you were saying.
let me ask you a follow-up question then, Kalah. Here's a follow-up question that's really related to that, and that
That's
is,
a great answer.
do you think, Kalah, that you guys are tougher than most couples because you've
Wow,
had to
that's a
sort
good
of
question.
gut out certain,
That's
you know
a
what I'm
good
saying?
question, babe.
Thank you, babe.
That's
I didn't steal
that's
that.
your question.
Okay, good. So long as I
Good
didn't steal
question.
yours.
No, I
And
don't.
let me
necessarily
not
say
compare
tough.
you to other couples
Right,
either.
okay.
Let me not do that because that's not really what I want to know. Do you think you have a certain toughness that came from having to go through the
Right.
kinds of things you
Right.
went through in your relationship?
Well, yeah, like when you go through things and you push through and you get to the other side,
Yes.
Yeah.
then you're stronger than you were before you went through that situation.
Right.
So I'm definitely, we're definitely stronger. What I think is that we never consider like ending it or separating or it's we're just saying, hey, we have to figure out a way to deal with this because we're in this
Right.
until we die.
Yeah.
So make it work.
Exactly.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's something that we, I'm sorry, we do,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It seems like that attitude, though, is the same attitude that helped to fuel the success that you had in your career, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. I mean, that energy. Look, we had to. We started in like we were at Oakwood. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we were in Mary Student Housing on Oakwood Road, eating ramen as a
Ramen.
married couple, using student refund checks to
Kraft mac
buy
and cheese.
to buy stuff at the students, the quarter pounders from the little shop.
Yes.
things
That
are so
was
good.
so good.
Delicious.
My goodness.
But that's where we started, and so we had like people. We had that kind of as our core. Like, if we're not going to break up, then we're not going to break up now. Like people were like, oh, there's no way they stay together. I mean, they got a baby. They're 19. She's 19. He's 21 or whatever. But we survived that.
Yeah,
now
that's
we got
true.
all this stuff and kids, and we've made it through all of that. And we're just committed. We don't. It doesn't enter our mind to escape our relationship.
Wow.
We are committed to bettering it, getting through the problems, talking about them. Like, and you gotta push yourself to the background sometimes. Like, she's talking about she wants to do new stuff. I'm like, how can I be? Look,
Right.
Be my sugar mama. Look, I'm happy to sit on the side. Look, go ahead and do your thing. How can I support? That's all.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, now that you are, and am I correct, you are now home for good.
I am. Yeah. I work at a tech company, and I sit at my desk, and the hardest thing that I will decide tomorrow is what type of coffee I get.
Right.
It's hard. I'm like, ooh, which one? That's it. That's all I'm gonna do.
And you deserve that.
And I
you do.
that.
You
I don't-
do.
I'm hard tired of making tough decisions.
That's right,
Oh
man.
yeah. So the question is how do you feel about that? How do you feel about? And I don't know if this is.
No, it's a good question,
Okay.
babe. That's a good question.
I want to know on both ends. How do you feel about Julian being home for good. Like this, there is no 30 days going back. You know, if you've done that for several years, so
Yeah.
that's your norm actually.
Right.
And how do you feel about being home? That this is there is no deployment. Like that's it.
Right.
You know, is there a
This is your last deployment,
right?
and it's forever.
Exactly. You know, is there a mental thing there? Do you have to, you know,
What
get yourself
adjustments you
ready
make
for that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so because you're used to, you know, doing your own thing. I mean, you love being together, but at the same
Yes.
time, you know, you also love the independence of
Yeah.
being able to do your own thing, you know?
Right.
So that was definitely an adjustment. But, you know, honestly, being at home together during COVID forced us to you know, I guess dive deep into intimacy
Okay.
and being friends and getting to know each other.
Yes.
So when Julian first got out,
Oh, that's right.
I
bounced.
he had to go to California for his new job, and I was still living in Florida. So we had one more basically deployment
One more
when
deployment,
he got
okay.
out.
Right.
And I think it was for 9 months, wasn't it?
Whoa.
Yeah,
it?
it was from
Really?
September
one-bedroom
till
apartment, yeah.
till May.
Wow.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either.
So
Wow.
when we when the family went to California, it was that first month was rough.
Was
because
it?
he was used to, you know, being in his little one-bedroom apartment in Redwood City, doing his thing, coming and going.
Right.
And now the whole 8 of us were all together. And so that was an adjustment, but we adjusted. And honestly, our family, we argue less than we did before.
Really?
And the kids would be at each other's throats all the time, you know. We argue
Wow.
less. We
So do you think it's because you are now together?
yes.
And you know in your mind we are going to be together.
We're
There
gonna
is
do
no
this. It's the
more
long haul,
separating.
yeah. We have to figure out what this looks like.
have to figure
over the
this
long
out.
term.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no-
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That
man.
is interesting.
Now, April said something that reminded me of something we talked about a little earlier, and that is you were describing what it's like whenever you guys would have to separate again. When you knew it was about to happen, you had a date that you were supposed to deploy again, and there were sometimes situations and circumstances that did not go exactly right,
Yeah.
so that you didn't necessarily leave on time. There was something you said about when you hug. Can you share that with us? You were
Wow.
talking about when the hugs are supposed to happen and why they happen that way.
We talked about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So there's a place at Fort Bragg. The place is Green Ramp. It's a place. It's a giant building with benches,
Just
like
a
big
bunch
wooden
of benches.
benches, and the benches are there for parachute operations. But you go there and you know they tell you to be there at a certain time and date, and you know sometimes the planes aren't working and whatever, and so you don't know what to do with the time. Like, okay, so when do we come back? And so you might go to try to see a movie or something like that. You try to go do something with that time you have left, but you never know. Like you're there, and we showed you pictures of like that last time that I kind of went, and you're not really sure when to hug, like that final goodbye, because. So first of all, nothing is certain.
Right.
You're getting on
Right.
that plane. You don't know who's going to come back.
Wow.
Or, you know, or when they're going to come back, or whatever. And so, it is very emotional because you don't know. You have children who don't know if their father is coming back or their mother coming back.
Yeah.
And so it is a very emotional ramp up, and that yo-yo effect where you're just
Oh,
like,
man.
I don't know if I'm leaving today, guys, or tomorrow. Oh, okay, they sent you to go home, and they call you back. Be back here at 3:00 in the morning, and so it's very tense. I would say, and it was hard that last time for sure because we actually did lose somebody on that last rotation that was close with our family. And so,
Wow.
devastating experience for obviously for her family. He had just had a baby.
Oh my
And
goodness.
and they were there with us saying
Wow.
goodbye. Like, hey, we all three of us. We were early. We left to go on that plane, and only 2 of those 3 people came back.
Oh my goodness.
Man, yeah. So
So
That last hug is
last hug,
but
Could
that
be.
that
Yeah.
last hug you would delay it as long as
As long as you
possible
can.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
because
Yeah.
that hug
That
means
that means
I've got to go.
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah. I wonder how the kids were. I mean, you can't read their minds. Obviously, they're downstairs. We could just ask them the question. But
Yeah.
but did you guys recognize? Maybe Kalah, you would see it, a little bit more closely. did any of the kids seem to take it harder than the others? Where,
Right.
was Nia pretty good, but, Jonathan really had a problem? Or, I don't know.
They did a good job at just kind of going with the flow. So I think, yes, they were sad, and you could see in the pictures how they were just kind of, had their head down and hugging him and everything. But then, once you get in that car and you're heading back home, you're like, okay, this is minute one,
Right.
and let's just get through the next
minute one. Yeah.
Wow.
9 or 10 months. You know what I mean? So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have to read this because I lost it. So okay. So Cynthia Woodard said, "Man, I thought being a pastoral couple was hard.
It is.
Being
probably
a
hard.
military family is even more challenging. Thank you for your transparency." Tam said, "I love your story. Wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but I love it."
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then Zernona, I hope I'm pronouncing that. It's such a blessing that Julian is home for good while the children are
It
still
is.
young.
Yeah.
My dad didn't retire until I graduated high school. That's wonderful for the kids to have a relationship with the children before the high school years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and
And
to
she
be
said
clear,
she
some of
remembers
them-
those last hugs when
Yeah.
her dad
Yeah.
would leave.
Yeah.
That's very emotional. It has to be.
So there
Yeah.
was one long comment by Primo that I'm about to put up here. Please don't let Julian Kitching's humility fool you. Just to become a Green Beret, he went through an assessment course. Most don't pass, followed by training in the
Wow.
history of warfare, unconventional warfare, special operations missions, airborne school, special forces, mission planning, world culture, language, and survival / evasion / resistance / escape, and then
There's a lot of
specific
slashes.
training for his expertise on the team.
Wow.
This was just the beginning of his training. Too much
Wow.
more to list.
Wow.
So the point is, all the people that are saying, thank you for your service and stuff like that, they need to
It's
know
even more
it's
than-
even more so
than
than
service.
that's right, exactly. It's for real
really,
service.
it's really a sacrifice.
Oh, no
actually.
question.
Thank you for your
No question.
sacrifice.
But what I'm getting
You
right
know?
now from this conversation is Julian's sacrifice is the one that's more obvious. He wore the uniform.
Yes.
He carried the gun.
Right.
He was the one that left. But it sounds like the sacrifice that his wife and children made
Right.
were just as impactful. In
That's
fact,
true.
Julian just gave credit from his career success to his wife
That's
directly.
true.
He
Very
would not have
true.
been able to do any of this without her.
Wow.
And we agree, by the way.
So when we say thank you for your service, we should be saying that to the military man and to the family.
That's exactly right.
absolutely.
So thank you for
Because
your
it is-
sacrifice,
Thank you for your
Kalah.
sacrifice and your service.
Yes.
and you
for
could
our
see it,
country.
man.
Yes.
These
Yeah.
dudes would get off
Yeah.
that plane, and I mean, imagine this: no one's waiting for you.
Oh my goodness.
0 people show up, and it would happen regularly.
Wow. Are you
Single Green Berets
serious?
come off that plane. No mom and
Nobody.
dad.
Whoa.
Nobody waiting for them.
Oh, my
they just
goodness.
call somebody, hitch a ride with someone who does.
Yeah.
Back to the battalion.
Right.
Oh,
To
my
unpack the thing,
goodness.
and they go home and they drink. Or
Right.
They do whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
whatever.
my
What do you
goodness.
do when you've been away
Yeah.
from all, like, no women for 9 or 10 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, down
Right.
in the desert. I mean, what are you doing? There's nobody waiting for you.
We know
Wow.
we know what you guys did when
Yeah, I had a plan. Very simple plan.
We know
it worked.
a lot of budgeting happening.
yeah. All
Three-step
kind of
program.
budgeting.
A lot of budgeting.
Three-step budgeting.
No, hours of budgeting.
Yes, we did.
Brian Goodine just said Kalah kept our country safe. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
she did.
saying
She
that's the kind of
did.
credit
You
she
You
deserves.
should get a medal.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
No question about
Definitely.
it. Do they give medals to well, I've seen them give medals to wives when their husbands die, or to husbands when their wives die in battle, or something like that. It's really a medal for the person who died in combat, though. We should, I think, adopt this new thing. I think if a spouse of someone in the military is there for them in that kind of way, maybe we should be watching out for that and be giving them medals, man.
Really.
You know what I'm saying?
They're there all the time to
Yeah.
pick them up, ready
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and to
Do
drop them
everything.
off every
Yeah.
time, to give the last hug.
Right.
You know, all those things are
Yep.
that. And he said that's what kept him going.
Tam
That's
said
amazing.
Kalah is a superwoman. Period.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
And okay, Nona, that's
Yeah,
that's
she said her name short is Nona. So I
good.
said
So we
easy.
hope to see you back on here again.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you got some military people vibing with
Come
you
on.
guys today.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No, this is really, really good, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
because, you know, we don't really know what people are going through.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You say, yeah, we're a military family, and you just, oh, that's nice, and thank you for your service, but we don't really realize what's going on inside.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of emotional things that's that's happening. It's taking
Right.
place.
I also think that even people who are watching tonight who don't have any military service, any military experience, can connect with the feelings that you guys had.
Right.
The same feelings of maybe sometimes resentment or other times being
Yeah.
misunderstood,
Right.
having expectations,
Yeah.
being gone for a long time and coming back thinking it's going to be a certain way,
Yeah.
like where was it when I picked up and I left off, all that kind of stuff. I think all of those things are relatable to pretty much any relationship, whether you're married or not. I think those
definitely.
are things that
Yeah,
we experience
definitely.
all the time.
Right, absolutely.
And
But I think it's
your
heightened
experience-
in that
I do too.
It's
Yeah,
heightened.
I think you guys are at a heightened level, no question about it.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing your story with us tonight
Yeah.
and
Thank you
for being
having
here.
us on.
Yeah, thank you so
Yes.
much.
As you guys drove all the
Definitely.
way out here to do this.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
We love it, man. This is great. What a wonderful day,
Yeah,
man.
we
It's
love
been a
hanging
good
out with
day.
you
It really
guys.
has.
It's been really nice, man.
Yeah, you
Seriously.
guys are great.
So I don't know when the next time is we'll have you on, but hopefully you'll,
Yeah,
say
hopefully
yes
you'll
the
do
next
this
time.
again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'd love to.
Yeah.
This is-
I'll just take all my equipment downstairs again, like I did this time. Thanks for the help, Julian. No, he actually did help me.
Yeah, I did. I helped
He
you.
helped me break some of the stuff down.
Oh,
you know what I'm
nice,
saying? Yeah,
nice.
that was good. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So anyway,
What comment you got right there?
which one? The Kitchings have taught me that talking about this is Bryant Godine, talking about finances can be fun.
Yes,
Budget
they can
save
be.
money more than money.
Budget saves more than money. he
Oh,
said.
hashtag budget save more than money is what he
That's
said.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes, I
Creative
like
about it.
that.
Nona
I like
says she
that.
really enjoyed this, by the way. And then
Awesome.
Jamel McBean just coming on. Good evening, my family. My brother is 82nd Airborne.
There we go.
Oh.
Fort Bragg.
And
Okay.
he said, how did you cope with the PTSD? We talked about that a little bit earlier, Jamel. He
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
and had some coping. You know what? In fact, you go back, Jamel, and watch it. You know what I'm saying? That way you'll be able to
Yes,
Go
yes,
back and
yes.
watch it.
you'll be able to see what we talked about just a few seconds ago.
But we are glad that you are home
I'm glad
with
I'm
your
home.
family.
Thank you so much,
I
yeah.
know that they are happy.
That's awesome.
And now we gotta, we can get together again and
That's
hit
what I'm
hit up Mad Cow and all that. you know?
Exactly. We gotta do that one
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, we
you know
gotta
what I'm
do
saying?
that.
Do that.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Well, let's end the show. Where's your? Well, I guess I can do it over here, babe. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I have no idea if this is a Team John or Team April night because clearly, we ended up. What'd you say, Julian?
Team Kalah?
Yeah, it should be.
Don't even put me up.
It should be Team Kalah.
You know,
You know what I'm
I was gonna say
Julian,
it should be
Julian.
Team Kalah
No, Julian worked.
and team. It should
He
be
worked,
Team
yeah.
Kitchings
Team
because
Kitchings.
because they. I mean, they had to work together.
Yes.
Word.
Teamwork.
true.
To
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the
teamwork.
dream
So
work.
Yeah, I was about to say
teamwork.
that. Look at her.
Yes.
So we got a bunch of people. We got Tamara talking about Team Kalah, and we have Aaron talking about Mad Cow. So good. So she's had it.
Team Mad Cow.
It is mad
Team
good.
Back out.
That's hilarious.
Yes. We're in trouble right
Tam said, "I didn't think I'd enjoy seeing this topic, but this is really good. I'm glad.
wow,
I'm glad
that's
she said that."
now. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you
And
joined us.
Brian said, "Is there even another option other than Kalah?" Exactly.
Bryant.
Team Julian and Kalah.
Marvin Pitcher's on here, man, saying very interesting
hey,
shit. Hey, Marvin, what's the deal, Pitch?
What up? I haven't seen Marvin in so long.
That's been a
oh my
long
goodness.
time.
It has been a long time.
I wonder if Marvin.
Wow.
I'm assuming Marvin is still in Bermuda, but I have no idea what he's up to these days. It'd be nice to hear from you, Marvin.
Marvin, make contact.
Primo said, "Forget this unity stuff. Team men, Jew
Oh,
and John."
wow.
That's what I'm talking
Wow.
about. Yeah.
Really, Primo?
Primo.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
and I
There you go,
just
Primo.
told the
That's
truth
right.
earlier about, wow.
Primo, I
About
can't
what?
co-sign on that
About the
because I'm trying to do budgeting tonight.
Primo messing people up.
Trying to mess up my budget.
Elaine Kennedy, Team Kalah. By the way, Marvin said he's in Bermuda.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
We will chat. Wait. This actually
Nice.
says he is in Bermuda. We will chat. So I wonder if
is in
this.
Bermuda.
Yeah, but it
Is he
says
referring to
he.
himself in the third
That's what I wonder. Either he's referring to himself in the third person or somebody else is on his joint. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
that's him.
Team
Oh,
Kalah.
and Cynthia.
I got you next week, April. Cynthia
Thank you,
Woodard said.
Cynthia. So if
That's
you say
hilarious,
Team
man.
Kalah, that really is Team April. So
Is that what that means?
yeah, me and
I
Kalah.
don't,
Yeah.
I don't think that's what that means, man.
That's my girl. That's my sister. So you know.
That's hilarious, man. Man. Anyway, so y'all, we'll be back next week, right here, same
Yes, we
time.
will.
Wow, yeah.
What
Yeah.
time do we get on here? 9:00 at night. We do it at 8:50 with
Yes,
the with the
but you
countdown.
never remember
I
in the
never
night.
remember.
It's time to go to bed when you
It's too
start
late.
doing that.
Exactly. It don't even make no sense.
Be back here at 9 next Wednesday, but don't forget about the podcast on Friday.
Yes, we'll be back
And
with
join
that
us
too.
there too. You can chime in on those episodes as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right, y'all. So see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Thanks again, Kid.